Good morning, Josh. Did the PD say that they were going to be a minute?
I talked to him about 10, right after you emailed me. They said they're going to tell the officer to get him on.
All right, I'll call over there and see what the holdup might be.
Okay.
rise. Third, fourth district courts now in session. The honorable meeting on today.
You may be seated. Let me know when you're ready. This is 232063 LT. This is Bell Mobile Village versus William Porter and Danielle Porter. May I have your appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Oliver Schmidt of Knighton First PC, P75157 on behalf of plaintiff Bell Mobile. Alongside sits beside me, Lisa Beatty, the park manager.
Thank you. And ma'am, your appearance? Just state your name, I'm sorry.
Danielle Porter.
William Porter.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for trial on this matter. This courtroom is also scheduled to do arraignments this morning. We have one in custody arraignment that we're waiting for, so we will take a break when we need to so that we can do that arraignment and release the police department. The court has received from the parties the plaintiff's exhibits, which were the transaction history, some photographs of the unit, copies of 3 police reports, and from the defendants, the court did receive pages of the police report as well as 2 videos that show some activity at the property. The court having now been made aware of the fact that there are police reports involving the tenants and Ms. Beatty, I will indicate to you with officers in the courtroom that this is a simple termination of tenancy case. I will encourage people to maintain themselves, and if you're unable to sit peaceably while we're taking testimony this morning, you'll be asked to leave this courtroom. That being said, Mr. and Mrs. Porter, what typically happens is the plaintiff has the opportunity to present their case and their witnesses. You will have an opportunity to cross-examine any witnesses that they put forth. You've already had an opportunity to review the exhibits that Mr. Schmidt's office sent.
No,
Did you receive anything?
you received what they sent? You did? Did you look through it all?
Okay,
I was at work, like I told you. I had to work last night and all day, yesterday, so.
but your side received them, Ms. Porter.
Yes.
Okay. Is the plaintiff ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defendant's ready to proceed.
Yes.
Any opening statement, sir?
We waive that.
Any opening statement?
No, ma'am.
You ready to call your first witness?
I am. Plaintiff calls the park manager, Lisa Beatty. to the
Ms.
stand.
Beatty, what you'll do is you'll come to this podium right here. You'll state your first and last name and then spell them both for the record.
Lisa Beatty, Lisabeaty.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you much. Come up here, please. Have the seat and the chair that's closest to me. Yes. Heather is recording your testimony. If for some reason she's not able to hear you, I'll ask you to either raise your voice or pull that microphone closer, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Your witness, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Beatty. You've stated your name for the record. What capacity do you work in?
I'm the community manager at Bell Mobile Village.
And how long have you held that position?
2 years.
Prior to that, did you live in the park?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with all the tenants in the park?
Yes, I am.
What does your job entail as the park manager?
I collect the rent. I keep up on the grounds. I do the rent manager programs, which I have to, the utilities, DTE, Universal, water, put it into their name, and I monitor all the rent.
Are you responsible for evictions?
Yes, I am.
How often are tenants evicted from Bell Mobile in your experience?
When I first took over, the manager that was previously there was not ever there, so everybody was doing what they wanted. There's a lot of people behind, so we took probably, the first year was probably 5 people to eviction court. Then it's been pretty good, actually, up until Mr. and Mrs. Porter's.
And you know what brings you today to court, obviously. When did eviction proceedings begin for the tenant, Mr. and Mrs. Porter?
Well, we first sent a notice back on November 4th for the clutter in the yard for cleanup, which that was through our program, a violation. It was never cleaned up, so it kept escalating to the next steps, which led to that. Also, during that time, they became delinquent in rent, and that was the other issue as well.
Do you keep a record of those?
Yeah, it's all in the
violations?
rent manager program.
And I understand that the rent manager program keeps a history of notes separate from that of the transaction page.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
I've just been handed by you this morning, history of the notes evidencing the first violation on 11/14/22
Yep.
for exterior damage or clutter.
Yeah, for the yard.
Honor, I have not, Your Honor, I've not sent this as a proposed exhibit. I'm happy to show it to the defendants and enter with the exhibit. Otherwise, obviously, we've had the park manager testify to it.
Do you want to show it to Mr. and Mrs. Porter?
No, that's incorrect. We only got.
No. This is how this works.
Mhm.
There's an exhibit, they propose it. It's not for you to evaluate or respond to yet.
Okay,
He'll ask for it to be admitted. I'll ask you if there's any objection.
I object. Your
That,
Honor.
hold on. You have to have a legal basis for your objection. It's not, no. It's not that it's not true or that you're disputing what she's alleging.
Mhm.
It's a document. It's a business record that's been kept in the regular course of business. And Mr. Porter,
It's a falsified document, Your Honor. It's something they made up after the fact because they're trying to push me out.
you've heard me explain how this is going to work this morning, correct?
Okay.
If you're saying that there's something inaccurate, nope. You'll get an opportunity to testify. You'll get an opportunity to cross-examine Ms. Beatty.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you to respect the court.
Yes, ma'am.
That means don't interrupt me. That means sit up and act like you're participating in these proceedings fully.
Yes,
You've
ma'am.
now reviewed the document. Mr. Schmidt, retrieve your document.
Thank you, Your Honor. And first witness,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Beatty, I'm handing you what's out of order proposed as plaintiff's exhibit 1 proposed. Are you familiar with that document?
Yes, I am.
Does that accurately reflect the history notes kept in your
Rent
Okay.
manager program. Yep.
proposed? Thank you. Your Honor, ask for plaintiff's proposed exhibit 1 to be amended.
Do you have any objection to this document being received?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Plaintiff's number 4? What did you say?
The one, it should really be 5.
5.
Much easier.
Plaintiff's number 5 is received.
Ms. Beatty, in your occupation as the manager, you keep a transaction in the log of rent payments, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, sir.
Handing you will be proposed exhibit 1, previously filed with the court prior to today's trial. Are you familiar with that transaction?
Yeah, everybody in the community that's registered through there, they all have it. It's a
And-
transaction.
And who does that particular transaction law pertain to? What tenant?
William and Danielle Porter.
And is that a true and accurate copy of the log that's kept on your computer and software?
Yes, that's up-to-date copy.
Referring to page 2 of the document, what is the balance due and owing?
$1,333.
And what does that balance consist of? in general?
That's their non-payment of rent and late charges added with non-payments.
Your Honor, I ask that plaintiff propose exhibit 1 be admitted.
Any objection to the court receiving the ledger?
No objection.
Number 1 is received. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Beatty, did there come a time when, on the Porter's a rental property that a violation that we previously testified to began to accrue some refuse.
Don't answer that question just yet. Can you hold your place? Can you keep track of where you are in your questioning of your witness? I need to stop to do this arraignment.
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Thank you. This is 230366 FY, State of Michigan versus Angel Melendez Ortiz. May I have your appearances, please?
Joshua Kaplan for Mr. Ortiz, Your Honor.
Sir, state your name for me.
Angel Melendez Ortiz.
Your Honor, for purposes
Mr.
of arraignment,
Melendez Ortiz,
sorry, Your Honor.
go ahead, Mr. Kaplan.
I was gonna say, for purposes of arraignment today, we're gonna waive formal reading and stand mute to the charge.
Mr. Melendez Ortiz, you've had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Kaplan this morning,
Yes, I did, ma'am. Your Honor,
and
yes, I
he's gone
did.
over the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
He's also explained your constitutional rights to you, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's waived your formal reading of this complaint and has you stand mute to the charges, sir. You have an absolute right to be represented by an attorney in this felony matter. If you're unable to afford to retain a private attorney, the court is able to appoint one to you. Attached to the front of your file was a petition for a court-appointed attorney. The court has signed that. You will be assigned an attorney going forward. It will not be Mr. Kaplan. It will be someone else who uses the phone number on your form to be in contact and communication with you. You also have a right to be considered for pretrial release. There is a recommendation from Romulus Police Department asking that your bond be set at 10,000, 10%, with a notation that this is an armed robbery, the basis for their request. Mr. Kaplan, your response to that bond recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor, we understand the charges. My client certainly does. We are requesting a personal bond. I'm gonna go over a couple of reasons why. First and foremost, Your Honor, he's gone through what he's explained as withdrawal from substance abuse related issues. His intention would be, if released today, would be to get into some rehab program immediately. He's gone through the toughest part, and now he wants to focus on sobriety. He does work part-time. He does home remodeling and landscaping. He lives with his girlfriend and their 3 daughters, ages 1, 2, and 3. And Your Honor, there is no, from what my client's explained to me, and under reasonable belief, there is no criminal history for my client. He's 35 years old. This is his first offense. Yes, it's very serious. He takes it very seriously. And I believe that he is going to intend to show up for all future court dates. And so we would request a personal bond on this matter.
Respectfully, Mr. Kaplan, while the court appreciates your advocacy on behalf of your client, there is a criminal history in the court's file. It's relatively short, but it is reason for concern. The court will depart from the recommendation by the police department and set Mr. Melendez Ortiz bond at 5,000, 10%. The next appearance date in this matter will be on Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. before Judge Green in courtroom number 3. Again, this file number is 230366 FY. Next appearance date is June the 6th, 2023 with Judge Green in courtroom number 3 by Zoom at 8:30 a.m. Anything else, Mr. Kaplan?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Anything else, Romulus?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Good luck to you, Mr. Melendez Ortiz.
Thank you.
We're back on the record in 232063 LT. Your question was regarding when you became, when the issues of the exterior started.
When did trash begin to accumulate on the property?
On 11 Forest, it was before that, but that's when we actually sent the violation.
And did you take photos of that?
Yes, I did.
I'm showing the defendant's plaintiff's proposed exhibit 2. These are filed with the court. I have made color copies for today's trial. May I approach it?
Yes, sir.
People are hanging this plaintiff's proposed exhibit 2. Are you familiar with those photographs?
Yes, I am.
And what do they depict?
Mr. and Mrs. Porter's yard at lot 116.
Do those pictures accurately reflect the property at the time they were taken?
Yes.
Do they accurately portray the amount and volume of refuse on the lot, on lot 170.
116, yes.
160. Your Honor, I ask that plaintiff's exhibit 2 be entered.
Any objection to these photographs being received as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2?
No, ma'am.
They are received.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. B, I maybe forgot to ask you, does a regulation of the park require that tenants retain the aesthetics of their property?
Yes, and this is the time we are going into spring and we are doing spring cleanup in the community. So this is the time that we would go around and check everybody's yard. They are not the only ones that got a violation for cleaning up their yard.
What does spring cleanup entail?
We would go through and check the lots of clutter, build up stuff. We are bringing dumpsters in so people could declutter their yard and get rid of the trash. In our community guidelines, you're not supposed to have anything in your yard like that. You got to keep it neat and clean.
We're referring back to exhibit 2, which I understand is no longer in front of you. What, in your own eyes and in what's depicted in the pictures, what was the nature of the materials on the property?
It looked like heating and cooling things, air units, lots of boxes and debris. Our worry was rats or mice. The neighbors were complaining on the other side of them that, they were worried that mice or, rats were gonna get buried in that and bring it into the community.
To your knowledge, does a state or local ordinance regulate the amount of refuse on a?
Yeah, through the township, you're not allowed to have clutter built up next to your home. That's a safety violation type thing. The next thing would have been, if the township would have came in and seen that, they would have definitely violated them anyway, because you're not allowed to have things built up next to your home.
Did there come a time when the police were called?
Yes,
You
couple
recall when it
times.
was?
I believe the first time was like April 28th, I believe. I was in a meeting, on a Teams meeting. Mr. Porter showed up to my house office. He was beating on the door and screaming, but I couldn't answer his calls prior to that because I was in a meeting. The minute that I was able to get off it, I did call him back. He was screaming. I really couldn't understand anything that he was saying. So I told him, once you calm down and we could talk civilly, we, call back or we can meet. I did hang up on him. He did call back and he told me that he will just catch me out of the park. So I did follow up and I made a police report just to have on record.
And how did that behavior threaten you, make you feel?
Very uncomfortable, only because he seems a little unstable and he's really loud and he doesn't talk. I mean, I could talk to his wife, but he's a little aggressive. So I just, I didn't know exactly really what he meant.
May I approach this?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what's been marked as plaintiff proposed exhibit 3. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am. That's the first police report.
Behind it.
And then, yes, I had to call the cops again. And there's a follow-up at the back page that the officer went down. He had come back to the resident, but he sticks his thumb over the Ring camera and he's screaming, "Lisa, I know you're in there," when really I was in the backyard. So my husband did go outside first. Well, he got outside first because of the way he was just acting crazy and causing a scene and screaming on the porch. And this was the follow-up of the first report that they added.
And when did that occur? What date?
This one was May 10th, I believe. No, the 5th. Saturday, and that was the day too, the office isn't even open, it was, May 5th or 6th, it was a Saturday, and the office wasn't open that day.
Has there been any further contact with yourself and the police regarding this matter?
The last recent one where Mr. Porter had called the police over people cleaning up his yard.
Your Honor, I propose that you police reports of the two incidents that witness testified to.
Any objection to the court receiving the police reports?
Nope.
They're received as number 3.
Ms. Porter, you mentioned that you testified that at some point there was a cleanup entered by the park.
And I was not aware of that. My boss, Jennifer Knight, is working with a company that we have, Katie Renovation, working on 3 mobile homes in the park. My boss apparently talked to Stephanie, the owner of that company, and what was apparently left outside was just cardboard boxes and things that were just not going to be cleaned up. So that crew did go over there and dispose of the boxes into the dumpster. Now, I did drive by to check the mail, and I did notice it, and I called my boss and asked her, what is going on at 116? Who is cleaning that up? And that's when she had told me that she gave Stephanie the okay to ask her crew to clean that up out of his yard.
Are you familiar with the cost of that cleanup?
I know, because I didn't have anything to do with that, to be honest with you.
The later police incident that you testified to occurred on, you said May 12th?
No, it could, yes, it was, actually.
What happened on May 12th?
May 12th is that day that I had called my boss, and just as soon as I got a hold of her and she told me that it was the Katie Renovation crew that was cleaning up the boxes and debris out of the yard. Mr. Porter did show up at my house again at the office. I do live there, so the office is part of the home. So he did show up screaming and carrying on once again, beating on both of my doors, actually. Next thing I know, that he peels off, he calls the police as well as I did. They did go down to him. They came back down to my residence. Mr. Porter followed him, which the police asked them not to do. He was taunting and carrying on in front, wouldn't listen. If he would have just calmed down and actually just listened to me, that it wasn't necessarily me, that I do kind of understand where he's coming from, but as he just kept going on, and the police were there, so that's where the police report was made on that one.
May I approach?
Yes, sir.
I'm handing the witness what's proposed exhibit 4. Is that the police report that was completed by the police following the incident on May 12th?
Yes, yep, that's it.
Make a
Although-
second review.
Yeah, although I do want to add to this, he was saying that.
No, ma'am. No. The question was, is this the police report?
Yes, it is.
Does the information contained within the police report accurately reflect the situation you remember?
Yeah,
So to take a moment to review.
yeah.
Is there anything you have to add that is missing from the police report to your collection?
I would like to add that he had said that people had took ATV mower, but 2 of the residents in our park said that he helped them load scrap the day before. And he gave a lot of scrap to the people. So when the Katie Renovation crew did go there to clean up, it was just pretty much cardboard boxes and
No.
like debris of that nature.
If you do that again, you will spend the rest of these proceedings in the hallway.
Okay.
We're on the same page?
Yep, we're on the same page.
Thank you.
And
I just can't believe.
Ms. Beatty, who are the 2 residents you're referring to?
Ronald Lawson at lot 106 and Bradley Peterson at lot 75.
And have you talked to them about how they were involved prior to coming to court today?
Yeah, actually, they contacted me.
And I understand you obtained written statements from both parties
Yeah,
as to their conduct involving the material taken from or removed from the Porter's lot to other.
well, yeah,
places.
they willingly wanted to because they said that he offered and gave it to them and he even helped load it, so.
And this morning you handed me what are two signed statements, not affidavits per se. Are these approach?
Yes, sir. Have you shown it to Mr. and Mrs. Porter?
I apologize. I was handing these this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn it in. Yep, right.
Approach witness.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I'm handing you what's, what should be marked as proposed exhibit 6.
Yes, sir.
Are those the statements you obtained from the other residents of the park?
Yes, it is.
Do they accurate it, or did you see them sign them?
Yes, I've seen them sign them.
Do they depict the conversations that you had about the removal of property from the Porters to places unknown, other places, their units?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, I ask for a move for the admission of exhibit 6.
Any objection? No. Hand it to Heather, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Number 6 will be received.
Ma'am, have you received any calls from the defendants?
The last time I heard was from Danielle Porter. She didn't have the Zoom number. And so I reached out to you guys because I didn't know, I didn't have it. So I reached out to you and got the Zoom number and I did give it to her.
Have you received any text?
No, the only text is from Danielle.
Have you received any phone calls of any nature from either Mr. or Mrs. Porter?
Well, the threats was from Mr. Porter and it was phone calls, and on my porch, the one phone call. You recall what day that was? That April 28th was the first phone call threat from Mr. Porter saying he'll see me outside of the park. And then the second one was when he came back over, what was it, the second time, the 4th, and he said that he'll bring his boys back.
And what effect did that have on you emotionally or psychologically?
Well, that's my home, so I don't feel like nobody needs to be threatening me, or even showing up with that behavior. If you can't act calm, cool, collective, and we just have a peaceful conversation, then yeah, I feel like I'm threatening my residents when I feel like I have somebody coming up and screaming and carrying on like that.
What is the current state of Mr. and Mrs. Porter's trailer?
So after, I believe, the second police report, I ended up getting a call later in the evening from lot 117, Mr. Gora, saying that William Porter was screaming and carrying on about me evicting him and took a hammer to his skirting, that he was going to get every piece that he could get out of that home. He ripped the skirting off. The neighbor was feeling unsafe to even let his dog out because the way that Mr. Porter was acting and carrying on. And then I guess apparently took a hammer to the siding of his home as well.
What is the aesthetic value of that Porter's trailer as of today?
For us, I mean, personally, I wouldn't want the home. We wouldn't buy the home, I don't think,
What
Right.
physical damage did you witness to the
Oh,
skirting?
there's big holes in the side, all half of the skirting's off. I don't know what the inside damage is, but on the outside, there's big holes in the siding where he took the hammer to.
And have other residents complained about either one of the Porter's behavior?
Yeah, the neighbor at 117, Mr. Gora.
How did Mr. Gora explain his feelings
He
or
was just a
angst?
little nervous. He said that he doesn't know if Mr. Porter was on something, but the way that he was screaming and carrying on with the hammer and that he felt unsafe to let his dog out. And he just kind of stayed in the house and let it be to let it cool over because he didn't know if he went outside, what would happen with the behavior of Mr. Porter. So
Who owns the Porter's trailer?
I believe they do.
And who or what owns the property upon which the trailer sits?
Bell Mobile Village.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Porter, you have to decide which one of you, if either one of you will be quite cross-examining Ms. Beatty. You put your hand down.
Okay.
When people represent themselves, they have to be cautioned that this is not your testimony. These are questions about the things that that Ms. Beatty has testified to this
Mhm.
morning. So if you have questions for her, you're awfully animated, Mr. Porter, and I've had this conversation with you twice already. These are questions.
Yeah, I got
If you-
questions.
When I'm talking, you can't talk. And if you
Sorry,
can't
ma'am.
keep no, you're not, because you keep doing it. Questions for her. You'll have the opportunity to testify after the plaintiff rests. Your questions for Ms. Beatty.
My question is, Ms. Beatty, is how many notices have you sent to us? Have we gotten from you?
3.
Can you prove that? Because I don't see
It's
3
on the
notices.
website.
No, I want to
It
see the
said it was
notices.
to your email.
How many
That's the way it
notices
says.
can you show me? We've only gotten 1 notice from you.
Well, your email is linked to Rent Manager. You guys received all the Sarah program stuff through that same email.
No.
If your email wasn't updated.
You
then
answered
should
my
have
question,
updated
Ms.
it.
Beatty, but you're under oath and we've gotten 1 notice from you. Okay, Ms. Beatty, did you not come to my property? I don't exactly know the date it was, but we had a discussion
About your.
on
photo
cleaning
list.
up the property. Do you remember that discussion? I told you my wife was fighting for Social Security. You gave me 14 days to clean it up on that notice. Remember that?
No, sir. I remember that when I did talk to you there, you said, hey, you could stop the court eviction, help paying up my rent. And I said, William, it has more to do with that. You have to start cleaning up your yard.
And what else did I say to you?
That was it.
That was not it.
What else
I
did
told
say?
you that my wife was on.
Hold on. You can't talk while he's talking, and you can't talk while she's talking. And if she's already answered your question, and hold on, she did. She said, no, that was it. You start to say some more about the conversation. That's testimony. If you have a question starts with did, what, why, when, that kind of thing. So let's stick to
That
questions
wasn't
for
all
her.
that was not all that was said at that time, ma'am. So
I understand that's what you're saying, but she says it was. And
Okay.
you're starting to say,
Do you
Mr.
recall
Porter,
me?
you're
do
not
you
going
recall-
to stop interrupting me. And I don't understand. This case is a termination of tenancy about non-payment of rent and failure to maintain the mobile home site in reasonable condition. That's all that we should be talking about right now.
Mhm.
And when you can't keep yourself together, when I'm trying to keep us on track to talk about a summary proceeding, it makes me concerned about the testimony that she's given and the testimony that I anticipate that you and or your wife will give. So let's just focus on questions. You will get the opportunity to testify as soon as he rests his
I'm
case.
just wondering, Your Honor. I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead.
When I stop talking, you can talk.
I'm just questioning, Your Honor, because what I'm getting is half the truths, and they're not saying everything. They're like telling you half the truths. You know what I mean? And they're not explaining what really happened. And then they're bringing in lies that didn't happen.
I know, Mr. Porter, and that's
So-
why I keep saying to you, you'll have your chance to testify. But you
Yeah.
saying to her, well, didn't she's not gonna say anything different.
Right.
So your
Okay.
chance to make the record clear is when you testify. So if
Okay.
you want to ask her specific questions about what she testified about or any of the exhibits that we've received so far, this is the time.
Was there a riding lawnmower next to my house, Miss Beatty?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
don't know.
You
I really don't know.
You notice everything around my house though, Miss Beatty, right? Did I ask you to clear the tree out that was in my property for months since the storm, Miss Beatty? But you cleared every property around there except for ours, and that's why we quit paying rent?
No, that's
No?
not true.
It's in
guy
the
was
pictures that you,
cleaning-
is it in the pictures? Is it in your exhibit pictures, Ms. Beatty?
You, hold on. Second time, you can't talk while he's talking, you can't talk while she's talking, and yelling just makes him stand closer to you.
Did I ask
And
you
it
guys
will
to
make-
get rid of the
It will
tree?
make this proceeding a lot shorter.
Okay. Ms. Beatty, did I ask you guys to get rid of the tree that fell on our property
Yes,
during
you
the
did.
storm?
And I also.
You're cutting me over, Miss Beatty. Did I ask you to get rid of the tree that was put down on the storm? And I told you it was, but you cleaned up all the other properties except for ours and then asked for rent.
Yes, can I explain?
Explain.
The guy that was cleaning all the trees, his chainsaw broke. Mr. William Porter's was not the only little limbs that were in the back. It was another resident up at the front at lot 70, or wait, it would be 78. There was a tree down there also, but he had to get his chainsaw fixed in order to go back and resume. I did send somebody over to Mr. Porter's house to move the limbs. He told them that those limbs were wrapped in poison ivy, so it deterred the guy from pulling the limb out of there and told my other guy with the chainsaw was gonna go back and fix it because he said he's not allergic to it.
So you're telling me that there was a tree in my yard around all of that stuff that you wanted me to clean up with poison ivy on it, around all my stuff that I told you I couldn't remove because the tree was there. And you're telling me it sat there for 3 months on video camera, 3 months for your guy to get his chainsaw fixed, and it didn't get removed until the day after we left there?
No, I don't believe it was 3 months. There's no way it was 3 months.
I got it on video camera and I have pictures of it.
But I also had.
There's no question there.
So, Your Honor, that's why we quit paying rent.
And that's part of your testimony. So do you
Yes.
have any more questions for her?
No,
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may
It
step
it was
down.
unsafe.
Any other witnesses, Mr. Schmidt?
No, Your Honor. Plan for us.
Thank you. Ms. Porter, Mr. Porter. Are both of you going to testify or one of you?
I will.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to have you come up here and assume the witness chair because after you're done testifying, Mr. Schmidt will have the opportunity to cross-examine you. You're going to have to scoot closer to the microphone. You don't have to move it, but you have to be close enough for her to be able to record it. Your testimony, sir.
My testimony is this. Over 3 months ago, there was a storm. We all know about the storm. It started breaking limbs and trees all over the park. Trees came down in our yard, okay? Like she said, there was a management in there before prior to her, okay? The management that was there before, he did heating and cooling just like I did. His name was Randy. Randy did heating and cooling, I did heating and cooling. Randy told me it was okay to leave my stuff on that property like that. He was the park manager. He said that I could leave my stuff back there as long as it was in the back and on the side and tight and needy. Okay, that's what he told me. So I do heating and cooling as a business. So when I get home from work, I pull my stuff off, I set it over there neatly. Some of it goes to the scrap, whatever I can do. I get back to work the next day. I continue that, okay? My wife is on trying to fight for her social security. It's just me taking care of my family. Okay, it's only my income. I told Miss Beatty this as well. We had a storm, like I said, come in. A tree fell down on our yard. I let Miss Beatty know about it, and I told her that it was blocking the stuff for me to get that stuff out of there. And I needed it removed because they removed everything around the park except for our lawn. We were the only ones. They removed everybody's property but us. It seemed like they were attacking us. They sent me one notice. They sent me one notice. It was an email at that. That notice said to remove this stuff off of your property or you're gonna get evicted, and also to pay the rent. Miss Beatty drove by and she told me about the notice, and she told me to remove the stuff off the property. It was getting too thick and that it was gonna be a problem. That's when I told her, I said, look, I said, I work every day. I was like, your last management said this was okay. And now I have a stack of this stuff. I was like, in 14 days, I cannot get all this out of here. My wife is fighting for Social Security. I have a son going to school. You know, this is a lot. I have GLE scrap things showing that I'm taking this stuff back, and I will get this out of here. I said, but it's gonna take me some time because I have to work to take care of my family, and I'm also gonna, you know, I have to pay rent and bills and stuff like that, but I need you to get this tree off my property because it has poison ivy all over it. I can't go around this stuff. She said, her remark to me was, you have no excuse, Mr. Porter. You can go around that and move whatever you can. I said, Miss Beatty, I already am. I can prove to you guys that I got GLE scrap notes from these dates, that I can show you guys that I am removing this stuff slowly. But I can't spend all day on it. You know, it takes a while to load up a truck, go to the scrapyard, undo it, come back. I have to work daily too. So I can only do it like on the weekend a load, or at night if I get off early a load. I was doing what I could. And now that this tree's down, I'm having a real big issue. And I asked her to remove it. That tree sat there for 3 months later, until the day we packed up and got out of there. It shows on the computer. That's when her person came over there and drugged that stuff out of there and took them trees out of there. They didn't touch them trees the whole time we were there. We weren't gonna pay another dollar for it. My kid couldn't even go outside in the yard. I couldn't get all that stuff out. I couldn't pull the trailer up or anything, but they did. They pulled the trailer up. They pulled the trailer up and stole my four-wheeler. They stole my riding lawnmower. They stole my 5-ton AC unit from my shop. They stole my weed whacker. All this stuff was locked up with chains and stuff, Your Honor, right next to my house. They stole the rim to my D71 4x4 truck that was locked up there. They stole the rim to my truck. And she's talking about the scrap that I gave the two guys, the scrap guys that I like over there in the neighborhood. Yes, they knew they could have scrap. They came over and got the scrap that I let them have. That's why they signed that for you. Yes, I did give them scrap, but I didn't give them my important stuff, and I told them not to touch it, and they knew better. And if they were here right now, they would tell you that. They knew what not to touch. I said, don't touch this stuff up here underneath my house, right next to my house by my camera. That's my four-wheeler. That's my riding lawnmower. That's my weed whacker. That's my AC. That's all my private work stuff that I keep that I use for work. And she had her company come over there and wipe me out. $15,000 worth of stuff that I don't have no more and can't get back. And then, like I said, who would pay rent when this community is supposed to keep my property safe? Why they're trying to evict me out for not cleaning my property? This company, this
Mr.
community
Porter.
doesn't come and clean up the tree.
Just stop yelling.
I'm sorry.
I know
I'm
you're
excited.
passionate, and I know it's your
This is my
housing.
time to speak.
It is, and I'm not stopping you from speaking. I'm just saying, stop yelling.
This company comes over to my house while I'm over getting my new place ready because I have to move my family and get a bunch of money together, and we're scared. You know what I'm saying? Because I work hard. I work really hard for what I do. And you know what? I just cannot believe that you would send a company over to my house and steal all my stuff. Then that company, you could see on camera, he's putting stuff up in his truck, what he wants to keep, and he's throwing the rest away in the back. They took all my stuff. You don't think somebody's gonna be upset when they pull up to their house and their four-wheeler's gone, their 5-ton AC's gone, their weed whacker's gone, their riding lawnmower and weed whip for their new house they can't mow and stuff is gone because you guys wiped them out? No. Any man in their bright mind would have been livid. Yes, I was mad. Yes, I was out there. Yes, I was screaming and yelling. I was. I needed to calm down. I was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was mad. But I still kept it under control to where I didn't break any laws. I didn't threaten anybody. You can say what you want. I was very upset. I handled myself in the best way I could. If I would have been younger, in my younger days, yeah, something would have happened. But I didn't do anything to you. I didn't do anything to your property. I didn't do anything to anybody. Yeah, I hit my own stuff. Yeah, I pulled that trim out. Yes, I did, like that neighbor said. I pulled that trim out. You know why? Because it's mine. I paid $6,000 for that trailer, and then all of a sudden, when she becomes manager, we can't resell our trailers when we leave, and they kick us out. So they just took my $6,000 trailer that I bought, and now I can't resell it, and I can't do anything for my family, and we're out of here because I won't clean up my mess that I can't clean up because they left their mess there. That's how that went, okay? You guys just pushed me out. You didn't work with me. You didn't come to me and say, hey, 14 days isn't enough, William. We'll get this tree out of here first, and then we'll give you 14 days or anything like that. They didn't want to work with us. They wanted to steal our property because we are there as owners. okay? They want to own everything there so they can charge people more money. And that's exactly what they're doing, okay? They're trying to push out all the owners. And if you don't believe me, there's other people that are owners in there that you're trying to mess with too. Okay, shake your head all you want. We're not gonna go there. But like I said, I didn't disrespect anybody, I didn't threaten anybody. I was upset, I was mad, and I think that is called for in the situation. They stole all my stuff, they endangered my family, and they kicked me out on purpose. Like they didn't work with us, they didn't help us out. They did that on purpose. They took all my stuff. I want it back. They can't give it back. I want paid for it. You're sitting here trying to sue me and throw us out? You took $15,000
Mr.
worth of my
Porter.
stuff.
Mr. Porter. Is messing up the recording. Mr. Porter, I understand that this is your housing and this is where your family's supposed to be safe and secure. But you being upset and pounding
I'm
is
sorry.
messing up the recording and you're yelling.
I get
And
very,
Mr. Porter,
I have-
I understand, but I'm here to make a ruling
Yes, ma'am.
on this complaint. I listened to the evidence, I listened to the witnesses, but when you can't keep yourself together and
I'm trying to stay calm.
calm in a courtroom with 2 armed security
Mhm.
officers
I'm excited
and
about
me,
it.
and I understand that, and I keep telling you, I understand the passion, but you should be able to keep it in check long enough to do this trial.
Yeah.
Because-
I feel like I am in check. This is how I am.
Yelling and pounding on the table with the judge and
Maybe I'm not
officers and
realizing how
witnesses.
loud I am, Your Honor.
I know, and that's
apologize.
why I've let you go, but
Yeah.
please.
Okay, I'll keep it down. But I just.
You
like I
haven't
said,
threatened
I'm very
anybody.
passionate.
I understand they've taken your property.
Yeah.
I understand.
Do you realize I had a 440 big bore 4-wheeler ATV, $5,500 that I just bought, sitting right next to my house? Do you realize that that lawnmower that I just bought right there was $1,600? Do you realize that was a brand new on my credit card $300 weed whacker? Do you realize that those rims, both of those rims for my truck? I
Mr.
mean, like
Porter,
thousands.
listen, you're asking me, do I realize?
I
And
mean-
I'm trying to impress upon you,
Yeah.
like I did on Wednesday when we were here, that what I know is this. This is all I know,
I know.
that there's a summons, a complaint, and there's a notice. I know that when you come onto court on the 24th, I have to tell you to take your cap off. I have to tell you to stop smoking.
I didn't know.
Hold
we
on,
were in court.
hold on.
Yeah.
I try to tell you, listen, I want to have this hearing today and I couldn't because you were as worked up on the phone as you are here now. And I'm trying to tell you, I want to listen.
Yeah.
And I only know what you send. Mr. Schmidt sends things, I read them all. You send 2 video clips, I watch them.
Did you see that?
I did.
She
And I'm
said I
telling
threw
you,
away
hold on,
garbage, huh? Does that
hold
look like
on.
her?
See, I'm telling you that because I want you to understand that I am fair.
All right.
I am unbiased and I'm listening, but when
Okay.
you disrespect my court by swinging your chair, by pounding on the furniture, by yelling, by pointing at Miss Beatty and all that,
All that
that tells me things about how you conduct yourself.
I'm a high
And if,
strung person.
and so am I, and I have a temper like you do.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here because
Calm.
we're in court and because Brooks and Rapp are
Man,
watching.
I don't go to
And
court.
this is the last that I'm gonna caution you, and if you cannot keep yourself together, you can return to the table and oh no, because Mr. Schmidt will cross-examine you. Do you have any other testimony regarding the termination of Tennessee complaint?
No, I pretty much said pretty much what they did. And if they want to question that, they can.
Mr. Schmidt, do you have questions for Mr. Porter?
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Porter, you and Mrs. Porter, who sits at the defense table here, occupy unit 166 or 116, is that correct?
Yes,
How long have you rented unit 166?
probably over 3 years.
Did you sign a lease 3 years ago when you began renting? unit
Yes.
one?
We became month to month after that, yes.
How long have you been a month-to-month tenant?
We've been month to month after 12 months. So 2.5 years.
How much money, if any, in rent have you withheld from Bell Mobile?
Probably 3 months. Like I said, since the tree went down, we only owe you guys $1,000 or $900.
Have you held that money in escrow?
I got the money, yes.
That wasn't my question, Mr. Porter. Have you held the money in escrow
I
as
held it
required
in
by
my-
landlord tenant law in Michigan?
I didn't put it in an escrow, no, but I held it.
When was the last time you or any other resident, including Ms. Porter, slept at your unit
At the unit,
in your trailer on 116?
it's probably been about a week. because we got more stuff over at the new house now. But we still have stuff over there.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I have one question for you, Mr. Porter. Did you make a police report about this, the 5-ton, the riding mower, or the 4-wheeler?
Yes, I did. And I also went to the police and told them that their police officer made an inaccurate report because they didn't put everything in there. And I also got to fill out thing to get the video camera.
When did you make the police report?
I made the police report that day, the date, on the date of
Thank
the-
you.
What date is that, man? Babe? The 12th. Yeah, that's when we went over there to get my riding lawnmower and stuff to do our new lawn, and we realized they were loading the trash up because the night before, they had loaded all my good stuff. My expensive stuff, all the stuff we needed. That was locked up with locks. Not given away for scrap.
There's no question right now, Mr. Porter.
Okay. I mean, this was some nice equipment there.
Anything else, Mr. Porter?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Mrs. Porter, do you intend to testify this morning?
No, ma'am.
Any other witnesses or evidence that you want to present to the court this morning?
Just the camera footage, and they've already got pictures showing my stuff was there. And then them loading it up, what I got on my camera, as much as it would catch, because we took the modem out, but the camera was still catching footage. Thank God.
Mr. Schmidt, did your office receive the videos that Mr. Porter's referring to?
Presumably, I reviewed the video, yes.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. and Mrs. Porter?
No, ma'am.
Any rebuttal, Mr. Schmidt?
No, Your Honor.
Any closing, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, today's testimony has reflected several violations of MCL 605.5775 sub 2, including sub B, failure to comply with a lease or agreement of the park or a rule or regulation. For testimony that there is no lease, the tenants are month to month at this point. But we have heard testimony from my client that regulation of the park is being violated by maintaining that much stuff in the yard, stuff for lack of a better term, or less inflammatory term. And then moving to sub E, failure to comply with the local ordinance. We heard testimony from Ms. Beatty. Additionally, we heard testimony regarding conduct under sub G that could raise a substantial annoyance to other tenants, i.e. potential vermin. Sub F and failure to pay, which we proved, and there was testimony as to 3 times notice, although this has changed, I guess, or more from into a just cause termination. In addition, probably sub K, public health and safety violations by the tenant. And with that, we ask the court to enter a judgment ordering the defendants to vacate the property within 10 days of the judgment, 90 days to move the mobile home or sell the mobile home that they own, an order, a money judgment in the amount of $1,333 in overdue rent and late charges, in addition to a filing fee of $110.68 for personal service, the receipt of which I hold in my hand. If the court would like to review it. And in box 10, in addition to the money judgment, box 10, plaintiff requests that the court order with its contempt power that the defendants not have any contact with Ms. Beatty or other members or employees rather of the home. Thank you, Your Honor.
The court has the proof of service in the file already with the $68 showing. Why is your hand up?
I just got a question, couple.
It's not question, it's your time for your closing argument. And I was just about to turn to you after I indicated.
I don't want to disrespect nothing, so I'm gonna wait for you.
I was turning to you right now.
Yeah.
After I said what I said about the proof of service, my question to you was your closing statement.
Okay, so for one, you still want me to pay? And for two, I agree for the 10 days, that's fine. That's all I need to get the rest of the stuff out. You still want me to pay? And then,
We can't have any.
when she's talking about selling the place, we can't resell the home in the park, right? To somebody living there?
That's not a question for a closing. Your closing statement is a summary of your defense to the claim.
Oh, okay. As far as my closing, I don't think we should owe anything. I think they should pay us. I think they should pay us for everything that they stole, and I'm definitely gonna sue them. So I don't think we should pay them a dime. And I mean, anybody in their right mind sees that.
Anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor, other than, what I heard is a partial consent judgment and just a dispute over the money judgment, Your Honor.
The court has had the opportunity to listen to the witnesses this morning and review the documents that were received from plaintiff. The court did yesterday review the 2 videos that were submitted by Mr. and Mrs. Porter. And I don't take it as a consent judgment, Mr. Schmidt, as we have concluded the hearing in this matter. The court will find that the plaintiff has a right to possession of the unit 10 days from now. Mr. Porter did acknowledge that that the family has secured new housing and that they only need 10 days. 10 days by law is the minimum. And then, excuse me, then 90 days to either sell or move the property remove the home from the park. That's number one. Number two, Mr. and Mrs. Porter, yes, you do still have to pay rent for the period of time that you occupy the unit. There was rent already past due. Part of the complaint in this matter listed a request for money damages that appears on the complaint in this matter. Plaintiff bore out what was due in their testimony this morning and in the ledger that they attached to the proposed, now received exhibits that show a total of $1,333 due and owing. There's a $110 filing fee in this matter, $68 court costs, $68 service fee, and then the statutory attorney fee in this matter. Mr. Schmidt asked that that neither Mr. and Mrs. Porter have contact with the office in this matter, and I don't know how you can facilitate the move out of the tenants and then the resolution of the property without there being contact with the office. So the court cannot do that. The court will indicate no assaultive contact because Mr. Schmidt, I don't know how else to effectuate the termination of the tenancy.
Your Honor, might I suggest perhaps contact only via Ms. Porter to Ms. Beatty?
Is that a reasonable?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to her. I said what I need to say.
Anything else, Mr. Schmidt?
No, Your Honor.
Anything, Ms. Porter?
No, ma'am.
Anything else, Mr. Porter?
No, man, you've been wonderful.
That concludes this matter. Mr. Schmidt's office will prepare a judgment that indicates what the court just ruled. I will sign it. Do you have a form that you're going to mark up right now?
Yes,
Or
I
will
will,
you
Your
submit it? He'll mark it up and the file will be downstairs shortly. If you want to, I don't know who's downstairs in civil with it being a holiday weekend to process it. Otherwise, Jack's down there. Okay. Oh, okay. So it will, if you wait downstairs in the benches, the file will be downstairs shortly. Otherwise, they will put it in the mail to you. Good luck to you in the new place.
It's a nice place. We bought a house.
But you're still receiving mail at the Redwood Street
No.
address. I'm gonna have you, do you have a pen?
No, I do not.
I'm gonna send a sticky and a pen down for your new address, just so that they can mail the judgment to the correct place.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't necessarily want you to place it on the record, but The court stands in recess, just so you can stop recording and go back. Thank you, sorry. Hey, Andy, I still have your file up here, but one of the officers will bring it down when they bring the landlord tenant case down. I know, it's not normally cold like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm. It's freezing in here today. It's not normal, normally it's hot in here.
Your Honor, may I approach with regard to filling out the judgment?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor. I should say, I'm unclear as to what the court would disregard to 6. I would think, but I don't want to presume.
Yes.
And forgive me.
What Mr. Schmidt is asking is every judgment form and summary proceedings provides that the tenants remain liable for any additional rent or damages that come due. It's a standard form, and it's the court routinely makes it a condition of the judgment. If you're still there after June 1st, you'll owe the next month of rent. If you do damages to the property, to their property, you could remain liable.
Oh, if we damage the property between now and the time we leave?
But it's just a part of the standard judgment form.
Okay, how about just give us 3 days instead of 10, and we're out of there? Because I don't want to be responsible.
It's 10 days minimum, but what I would suggest to you, was there another question about the judgment form?
I'm familiar with the statutory attorney or where it goes in the form. and I hate to
Oh.
ask the judge where- But I fear the clerk, I don't do landlord tenant much.
I know, that's why I was shocked to see you on there. That's weird. I would just put it under the further order, $75. What I would suggest to you is when you're done, like your last load,
Mhm.
that you take pictures, that you save them to your cloud or to your email or somewhere where you can retrieve them, even with a lost phone or broken phone or whatever.
Mhm.
And however you are going to dispose of the home,
Mhm.
that you document that and that you be vigilant in doing whatever you're gonna do within the 90 days. I don't know about the selling or the buying by the park. I don't know how any of that works anymore. I've been out of that whole thing for a long time. I'm not asking for a response because I don't want you all to start going back and forth. I'm just asking you to be diligent in whatever it is that you need to do. I know that it is very expensive to move. It's not like it was when I was doing trailer park or mobile home cases 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's become very expensive to move them. And there is some value to them to having another unit that they can rent out, which is a conversation that Mrs. Porter can have with the office on a different day.
Mhm.
Not today, not this weekend.
What happens, what happens if we don't move it? Or if we can't move it?
If you can or don't move it, at some point it becomes deemed abandoned and they'll take it. And I don't, like I said, I don't remember how that works because it doesn't come up that often. Usually after you're gone, it's a little bit easier to have, I think, cool, reflective conversations about something that's mutually beneficial. You're not gonna care about it anymore. And they're gonna want to wrap up whatever loose ends they have with you.
Can they pay for it and get the title from us?
That's a conversation that Mrs. Porter might have with Ms. Beatty, but it's not one that the court is involved in. So Mr. and Mrs. Porter, what I'll have you do now is leave, go downstairs. If you want to wait for the judgment, great. Otherwise, they'll mail it to you at the new address
Yes. We'll wait.
Okay.
downstairs.
Is that what we
Thank
go
you.
to do to get the civil, or to get the other, to start the, process?
Yes.
Okay.
You can ask Mr. Burcroft, he's on the counter. You can ask him for the forms that you need for the civil case.
Okay, Your Honor, is the court satisfied with MCR 4.201I?
There's no consent.
Right.
It's just after hearing.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, well, was that what you brought with you? Or were those, he handed them
I
to you so
concur.
that you have a chance to review them. If you want to take them, great. Otherwise, you can hand them to Officer Rapp. You too, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll file this with the clerk.
Nope, you'll hand it to me so I can sign it, because if you take it down to him, he'll send it back up here, and then we'll be chasing the paper with the file for the rest of the morning.
I'll just.
No worries. Thank you. I thought you just did general civil work, so when I looked up and saw
Well,
you,
If you recall, I worked for Nick Baldwin.
that's what I'm
for-
talking
for a
about.
couple of years.
Yeah.
No, I work for Bruce Knight now. We do no fault provider work exclusively almost.
How long have you been there?
9, 10 years.
Are you serious?
Nick fired me right after. The last time I probably talked to you. He got in a fight and fired me. Then I did court appointments for about a year.
I saw your name on the,
I've been working for Bruce and Doug Firth for a decade now,
the time flies.
until no fault dries up, which is coming.
Is that coming? Okay.
Does the court, Judge, beautiful, by the way, ever see no fault cases?
No, we don't. It
Providers
used to
file in
get
Dearborn.
super busy in Dearborn. Yeah, I
Dearborn
hated
and Dearborn Heights, yeah.
my last few years of collections. I hated being in Dearborn because of that, because we were stuck behind the no fault cases, and they had become very proficient.
They had to be.
They
I mean, I
became very
filed
proficient
44,
at it.
that's where They hate me. The clerks hate me. I go, why are there so many clerks back there? Maybe it's because we file so many cases.
Because of you.
Yeah, well, you notice there's a ton of people for Royal Oak? Like, oh. But you remember April Nash? She worked for another, did she work for Tremenda? Yeah, she went to work for Fiverr and then she. just quit.
April
April
Nason.
Nason, yep. you're
Yep.
right. Yeah,
She left him a couple months ago.
yeah, she quit, yeah, oh, you're Southern kid, yeah.
How did I find that? I don't remember how I found
But I
that
mean,
out, but I
it's
knew
tough.
that.
I heard that they tracked the phone, like, are you in motion call right now? Like, they can see if you're in motion call, you're waiting,